Hello everyone. Today I thought I'd do a little bit of a study on NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming, about its history and its meaning. This is information taken from L. Michael Hall's work, articles on the Association of Neuro-Linguistic Programming's website, and Rex Sykes, Master Trainer's Ultimate NLP Home Study Course. Of course, I've narrowed it down for the sake of brevity. So I hope you'll keep with me for this, I don't know how long. And let's discuss NLP. Korzybski wrote, "Important characteristics of maps should be noted. A map is not the territory it represents, but if correct, it has a similar structure to the territory, which accounts for its usefulness." In Science and Sanity, pages 58 through 60. He used the term neurolinguistics over and over, and in the 1940s he traveled the United States doing neurolinguistic trainings. One of the distinctions Korzybski made was about humans as time binders. Plants bind chemicals into themselves. Animals bind space by movement, and humans bind time. We can incorporate into ourselves the learnings of people in previous times. He then went on to create a theory of time binding. He later said that he originally intended to title his system Time Binding. Then he decided to name it The Science and Art of Human Engineering. Eventually, he called it General Semantics. Korzybski founded General Semantics in linguistics and focused on how language works and the nervous system operates, and how language works as a psychophysiological function. That's why Science and Sanity contains many linguistic patterns. Like the meta-model, these indicate deleted, generalized, and distorted information, which creates limitations in mental mapping processes and result in leaving us impoverished. In Science and Sanity, there are statements that could have been the origin of some of the presuppositions of NLP. People communicate from their model of the world on page 419. The human nervous system works on page 466. People have all the resources they need. Quote, his, the average man, nervous system works continually as does that of a genius. The difference consists in that its working is not productive or efficient. Page 485. You can solve your own problems, page 529. There's a structure in every experience, so search for that structure. Structure is the only source of knowledge, page 544. Alfred Korzybski contributed much to NLP. He established the language of NLP, neurolinguistics, neurosemantics, human engineering, states, etc., and NLP presuppositions. And he did that 40 years prior to the birth of NLP. He did that between the years of 1933 and 1941. In the early 1950s, Gregory Bateson published articles that are incorporated in his book Steps to an Ecology of Mind, published in 1972. Bateson worked on Korzybski's formulation, "The map is not the territory." In his 1969 presentation to the International Conference of General Semantics, he asked, "What gets onto the map?" and answered, "The difference that makes a difference." The ideas in NLP draw from two main areas. The first is cybernetics, a view of how systems are organized based on feedback that was developed in the 1940s and 1950s and in which Gregory Bateson was a core figure. The founders of NLP, Bandler and Grinder, echo principles of cybernetics when they say the basic unit of analysis in face-to-face communications is the feedback loop. Bandler and Grinder, 1979. The second is the work of the Palo Alto Mental Research Institute in the 1960s, in which Bateson was involved. Palo Alto researchers emphasized the pragmatics of human communication and constructivism, which is that people cannot know reality as it is, so they act according to constructions that they create. The self-help movement in the USA in the mid-20th century helped shape NLP. NLP's emphasis on potential for a person to change themselves and its promises of empowerment and success reflects self-improvement that can be traced back to Dale Carnegie's How to Win Friends and Influence People, first published in 1936, and Norman Vincent Peale's Power of Positive Thinking from 1952. In the 1960s, California became the center of the growth movement, epitomized by the Esalen Institute, founded at Big Sur in 1962, in which psychotherapists Virginia Satir and Fritz Perls were involved. Perls, one of the developers of Gestalt therapy, was an author published by Robert Spitzer. Perls died in 1970, leaving behind unfinished work. Spitzer asked Bandler to transcribe recordings of Perls and edit a manuscript. Bandler then met Virginia Satir through Spitzer, who asked Bandler to transcribe a workshop that Satir would lead in Canada to turn this into a book. Following that, Bandler studied at Kresge College at the University of Santa Cruz. There he met John Grinder, who joined the University of California as an assistant professor. Bandler, Grinder, various peers like Frank Pucelik, and Bateson himself met while this experiment was at its height. The 2 volumes of The Structure of Magic, published in 1975 and 1976, are the results of their investigations of patterns used by excellent communicators. NLP grew from what its 2 founders learned from the processes of exceptional people, therapists who created changes in their patients, such as Virginia Satir, Milton Erickson, MD, a pioneer of hypnotherapy, and Fritz Perls, as well as people who had recovered from phobias, illness, and tragedies, entrepreneurs, and salespeople. NLP grew from thousands of people who transformed their lives. Richard Bandler and John Grinder studied people who achieved results. They asked, can we determine what processes occur that allow great successes, and can we teach those to others so that they can get results? They asked, what is it that people do that gets them an excellent outcomes? This is different than most theoreticians and therapists who ask what's wrong and how I can fix it, or how can I fix it. They created NLP based on modeling what works, people who got over phobias, for example, rather than studying the people who had them. In NLP, we use formulas for success, models, and not theories. A theory is an explanation. A model either works or doesn't. A model is evaluated by its usefulness, whereas a theory is evaluated by its reasonableness. The difference in orientation still exists. Many professionals look for problems in theories. An NLP practitioner looks for solutions. What is NLP? This is the short definition. Neuro means brain. Linguistic means language. Programming means behavior. NLP is a model to duplicate human excellence and learn new behaviors. Richard Bandler's definition is that NLP is an attitude and a methodology that leaves in its wake a trail of techniques. NLP is an attitude of curiosity, a method for modeling excellence, and has provided hundreds of techniques for communication and behavioral change. There are 2 main areas NLP is famous for: advanced strategies for communication or influence, and effective models for creating change. Now, what is the long definition? NLP is a synthesis of cybernetics, neurology, and linguistics that offers methods for improvement. NLP is not about quick fixes. One assumption is people are not broken, so they do not need to be fixed. People have the resources needed to change. NLP is about uncovering resources. Psychologists believe change must be long, hard, and painful. Instead of reliving painful times, fill your mind with wonderful things. How to use your brain on purpose. Neuro-Linguistic Programming is how we use our brain to communicate. Neuro means neurology, and our ability to take information through our senses and translate that into information in our nervous system. Linguistic refers to the verbal and nonverbal language we use to communicate. Programming means that we can use the computer between our ears to program behaviors we want and eliminate those which stand in our way. NLP is using your brain, language, and behavior to get what you want. NLP is a new way of learning that makes available possibilities for changing. It's new ways to teach how to use the brain on purpose. NLP has improved health by providing ways to change beliefs. NLP changed how we sold by learning how prospects decide, creating rapport, and using persuasion. NLP is in advertising, government, politics, books, tapes, and seminars, programs, schools, even religions. It is everywhere. NLP is the study of subjective experience. NLP is the study of how our experience is made and what it is made of. Scientists tell us experience is determined from senses, and Neuro-Linguistic Programming tells us it is how we use those senses and in what order. We string pictures, sounds, and feelings together to make a moment, string those together to make an event, and those together to make up our story. The way in which we string things together and the connections that we make is the cause for our talents and limitations. This process of creating our reality is making our map or model of the world. Each of us has a different worldview. We shape what we think the world is like and act from what we've created. In psychology, there is premature cognitive commitment. We operate out of automatic habitual behaviors we've developed by learning. We've estimated what we can do based on life experience. We make estimates based on what we paid attention to. Cognitive commitments form beliefs and values. They were created through experiences and input of those around us. While those beliefs and values may have been useful, they may no longer be true, yet we act as if they are. NLP states our talents or limitations exist more in the inner world. NLP states that we can learn to control our brain to be different. Humans have an ability to learn. Science claims that when we engage our whole being in learning, we grow new neural pathways. We are learning machines, and we can learn to feel happy. When a person has a phobia, it is reliable. They don't have it one day and not the next. The person's phobia is reliable. People will repeat behavior perfectly. It is automatic. NLP maintains our limitations, our skills. If you think about any problem as a learned skill, a world of possibilities opens. The key is in learning to break up the automated pattern and redirect the brain. We create our experiences by the way we delete, distort, and generalize information we take through senses. Our experience is determined by what we see, hear, and feel. What we see, hear, feel, taste, and smell is represented through pictures or visualization, voices and sounds or self-talk, and feelings, among other things. If we key in faulty data, we will get poor results. If we key in correct data, we will get correct results. Our neurology is hardware we entered the world with. Our experiences constitute software. The difference between our brain and the computer is that we came by our software accidentally. The programs we run are a matter of chance. Everything we learned serves some purpose. The software is an early version, and there have been advances. Our software hasn't been brought up to date. Our experiences provide a foundation in life, but they need to be brought up to date. Who's in the driver's seat? We take information through the senses and translate that into images, sounds, and feelings. We act from the model of the world we create. We look at what we think we can do, tell ourselves good and bad things, and have feelings. Our feelings are composed of pictures and sounds. People of all our sensory input. People have never been able to get hold of feelings because they never got hold of things that create them. Most therapy doesn't work because they focus on the feelings rather than what creates them. Your brain acts like a storage system. It collects data and sorts it however it was programmed. If you don't program it to generate what you want, it will run on autopilot. People let their imaginations run wild. When an event takes place, they get disappointed. Richard Bandler says, disappointment requires adequate planning. How about planning to feel delighted when something doesn't go according to plan? People have become prisoners of their own brains as if they're chained to the last seat on the bus and someone else is driving it. Wouldn't it be helpful to learn how to drive your own bus? Says Bandler. NLP is a method for getting control of the computer between your ears. Learning NLP means you can change your experiences and control what happens in your brain. NLP is software for the human mind. NLP focuses on process. An NLP practitioner will seek how do you have a problem. Knowing how we operate will give us information with which we can make changes. When it comes to creating our reality, it is the sequence we pay attention to things through senses, pictures, sounds, and feelings, and how those are constructed. People operate from personal maps of the world. This map is a construction made of pictures, sounds, and feelings. We formed this map during our lives and have made commitments which shape our reality. These commitments form the basis for programs. Using NLP, you can bring your brain under control. You can train it for what you want. If we don't program our brains, they will do what they were programmed to do. If we don't control our brains, we are subject to those who know how to influence us. It is crucial to learn to program your brain. And that, I hope, clears up a little bit about what NLP is and its history. Thank you for joining me on this little journey, and I hope to do more videos on NLP and even hypnosis separately very soon.